Hey guys, about the AI voice, my accent is too strong to be understand easily, so I use AI voice. For decades, people across the world have reported strange objects in the sky, silent, fast-moving, and unlike anything we recognize. Governments have investigated, skeptics have debunked, and believers have insisted there's more to the story. Yet, despite technological advancements and increasing transparency, UFOs remain one of the greatest mysteries of our time. Let's talk about first what actually are the UFOs. From eyewitness testimonies to declassified military footage, the conversation around unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, has shifted from conspiracy theories to serious scientific inquiry. What are these objects? Are they advanced human-made technology, unknown natural phenomena, or something far more extraordinary? As we explore the history, science, and cultural impact of UFOs, prepare to hear perspectives from skeptics, experts, and those who claim to have seen the impossible. The truth may still be out there, but one thing is certain: UFOs are no longer just a topic for science fiction. Let's dive into it. When people hear the term UFO, they often jump straight to the idea of alien spaceships, but the actual definition is much simpler. A UFO, unidentified flying object, is just that, any object seen in the sky that can't be immediately identified. It doesn't mean it's from outer space, it just means we don't yet know what it is. In fact, most UFO sightings turn out to have completely logical explanations, like drones, military aircraft, weather phenomena, or even just a bright planet like Venus. That's actually one of the reasons why the term UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, has become more common in recent years. The government, military, and scientific communities realize that UFO carries a lot of baggage, people associate it with conspiracy theories and little green men, which makes serious research harder. By switching to UAP, they're trying to encourage more open investigation without the automatic assumption that it's something out of this world. So what are people actually seeing when they report UFOs? There are a few common explanations. Some turn out to be man-made aircraft, like experimental military planes or even commercial drones that move in unexpected ways. Others are natural phenomena, like unusual cloud formations, ball lightning, or reflections in the atmosphere. Some cases involve astronomical objects, such as meteors, satellites, or planets that appear unusually bright. And sometimes, sightings can be caused by optical illusions or camera glitches. Even trained pilots have been fooled by reflections and sensor errors. Of course, there's always the more exciting possibility that a small fraction of these sightings might be something we truly can't explain. That's where the extraterrestrial hypothesis comes in. While there's no concrete proof that UFOs are alien spacecraft, the idea isn't entirely ridiculous. Given the vastness of the universe, the possibility of intelligent life elsewhere is something many scientists take seriously. The challenge is proving it. At the end of the day, UFOs, or UAPs, are worth studying not just because of the alien question, but because they could involve unknown technology or even natural phenomena we don't fully understand yet. The key is to separate real, unexplained cases from the many misidentifications and hoaxes out there. After all, just because something is unidentified doesn't mean it's unexplainable, it just means we haven't figured it out yet. Historical UFO sightings, famous cases that shaped the phenomenon. While UFOs have been reported for centuries, modern UFO history really begins in the 1940s and 1950s, when aviation and radar technology improved, making sightings more frequent and well documented. One of the most famous cases that sparked worldwide interest was the Roswell incident of 1947. A mysterious object crashed in the New Mexico desert, and the U.S. military initially announced that they had recovered a flying disc. However, they quickly retracted the statement, saying it was actually a weather balloon. This sudden change in narrative led to widespread speculation that the government was covering something up, and Roswell has remained at the center of UFO lore ever since. Just a few weeks before Roswell, pilot Kenneth Arnold reported seeing 9 fast-moving objects near Mount Rainier, Washington. He described them as moving, like saucers skipping on water, and that's where the term, flying saucer, was born. His sighting was one of the first widely publicized UFO reports, leading to a wave of similar accounts in the following years. Another major event was the Phoenix Lights in 1997, one of the most well-documented UFO sightings in modern history. Thousands of people in Arizona reported seeing massive, silent V-shaped lights moving across the sky. The military later claimed they were flares from an Air Force exercise, but many witnesses insist the lights behaved in a way that flares couldn't. The Phoenix Lights remain one of the most compelling mass UFO sightings. One of the most intriguing encounters happened in 2004, involving U.S. Navy pilots from the USS Nimitz. These pilots, including Commander David Fravor, reported a tic-tac-shaped object that moved erratically at high speeds, with no visible propulsion system. The encounter was captured on radar and infrared video, and even the Pentagon has acknowledged that it remains unexplained. Similar incidents have been reported in the years since, leading to renewed interest from the U.S. government. These historical cases show that UFO sightings are not just a modern obsession or the work of conspiracy theorists. Many credible witnesses, including military pilots and radar operators, have reported objects that defy conventional explanation. While some of these cases may eventually have earthly explanations, others remain open questions. This is why serious investigations into UFOs continue. Whether these objects turn out to be advanced military technology, rare atmospheric phenomena, or something else entirely, they represent a mystery that still fascinates both scientists and the public alike. Military and government involvement, what do they know? One of the biggest questions surrounding UFOs is, what does the government actually know? For decades, people have speculated about hidden military programs, secret research, and even alien crash recoveries. While some of these ideas drift into conspiracy theories, there's no denying that governments around the world have taken UFO sightings seriously, especially when they involve national security. The U.S. government, for example, has been studying UFOs since at least the 1940s. After the Roswell incident and a spike in UFO reports, the Air Force launched Project Blue Book, 1952 to 1969, a program designed to investigate UFO sightings. Over the years, they analyzed more than 12,000 cases. While most were explained as natural or man-made phenomena, 701 cases remained unidentified. The project was eventually shut down, with the official stance being that UFOs posed no threat and didn't warrant further investigation. However, interest in UFOs never truly disappeared. In 2017, leaked footage from the U.S. Navy showed unidentified objects flying at incredible speeds, with no visible means of propulsion. The Pentagon later confirmed the videos were real and acknowledged that they had been studying UAPs under a secret program called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ADIP. This was followed by the establishment of the UAP Task Force, which was tasked with investigating sightings, particularly those involving military personnel. The reason the military takes these reports seriously isn't necessarily because they think aliens are visiting Earth. Rather, they are concerned that these objects could be advanced technology from rival nations like China or Russia. If an unknown craft can outmaneuver U.S. fighter jets, it raises serious security questions. In 2021, the U.S. government released a much-anticipated report on UAPs, stating that they had investigated 144 incidents between 2004 and 2021. While some could be explained as airborne clutter or sensor malfunctions, many remained unexplained, showing characteristics that defied current technological understanding. The report did not confirm or deny an extraterrestrial origin but did emphasize the need for further research. Other countries have also taken UFO sightings seriously. The UK, France, Canada, and Brazil have all declassified UFO-related documents in recent years, revealing that military pilots and radar operators worldwide have reported similar strange encounters. So, what does this all mean? While there's no definitive proof that UFOs are alien spacecraft, the fact that governments and military organizations continue to study them suggests that there's something out there worth investigating. Whether it's secret human-made technology, an unknown atmospheric phenomenon, or something even more mysterious, one thing is clear: the UFO mystery is far from solved. Public perception and media influence: how UFOs became a pop culture phenomenon. Public perception of UFOs has changed drastically over the decades, largely influenced by media, government statements, and cultural shifts. In the early days, reports of flying saucers were taken more seriously, with newspapers covering sightings as potential scientific mysteries rather than fringe theories. However, as Hollywood and science fiction took hold of the topic, UFOs gradually became associated with aliens, abductions, and conspiracy theories, making the subject harder to discuss in serious settings. One of the first major turning points was the 1951 film The Day the Earth Stood Still, which presented an advanced alien race visiting Earth with a warning. This was one of many early films that shaped the idea of extraterrestrials as highly intelligent and sometimes even godlike beings. Around the same time, the concept of UFOs as potential threats emerged, fueled by Cold War paranoia. Were they advanced enemy aircraft? Was the government hiding something? These questions helped birth the UFO conspiracy movement. By the 1960s and 70s, alien abduction stories began making headlines, most famously the case of Betty and Barney Hill in 1961. Their detailed account of being taken aboard a spacecraft and experimented on became a template for future abduction claims, further cementing the idea of UFOs being linked to extraterrestrial visitors. The media played a huge role in popularizing such stories, leading to a rise in UFO-based documentaries, books, and TV shows. The 1990s saw an explosion of UFO-related content, with shows like The X-Files blending government secrecy with the unknown, feeding into existing suspicions. The famous phrase, "I want to believe," became a symbol of the UFO subculture, reflecting the growing number of people who felt there was more to the story than what authorities admitted. Meanwhile, movies like Independence Day and Men in Black reinforced different aspects of UFO mythology, from hostile invasions to secret government agencies hiding the truth. Social media and the internet have dramatically changed how UFOs are perceived today. On one hand, platforms like YouTube and Reddit have allowed for the rapid spread of new sightings and leaked government footage. On the other hand, the ease of creating fake videos and hoaxes has made it harder to separate genuine cases from misinformation. Some people take every blurry light in the sky as proof of aliens, while skeptics dismiss even well-documented incidents as misidentifications. Recently, UFOs have gained a bit more mainstream credibility, especially after the U.S. government publicly acknowledged UAPs. News outlets like the New York Times have covered military encounters with UFOs in a serious tone, a stark contrast to past decades where the subject was often ridiculed. Despite this renewed interest, the public remains divided. Some see UFOs as proof of hidden government knowledge or extraterrestrial contact, while others believe they're simply misidentified natural or technological phenomena. One thing is certain: as long as people keep looking up and seeing strange things in the sky, the UFO debate will never go away. Scientific approach to UFOs: what does science say? While UFOs are often associated with conspiracy theories and science fiction, many scientists believe the topic is worth studying, but with a critical and evidence-based approach. The key question is not just whether UFOs exist, since UFO simply means something unidentified, but what they actually are. From a scientific perspective, the majority of UFO sightings can be explained by known natural or technological phenomena. Atmospheric conditions, optical illusions, satellites, drones, and classified military aircraft account for most cases. For example, some UFO reports describe objects moving at seemingly impossible speeds, but this can sometimes be attributed to motion parallax, an effect where objects appear to move faster when viewed from certain angles, especially by pilots. Similarly, ball lightning and other rare weather phenomena have historically been mistaken for mysterious flying objects. However, what makes UFOs scientifically interesting is the small percentage of cases that remain unexplained despite rigorous investigation. These are the ones that exhibit flight characteristics beyond current human technology, such as extreme acceleration, abrupt direction changes, or no visible propulsion. Scientists and skeptics alike argue that rather than jumping to conclusions about extraterrestrial visitors, these cases should be examined for possible unknown physics, technological advancements, or natural phenomena that we don't yet fully understand. The SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, Institute is one of the leading scientific organizations dedicated to the search for alien life. However, SETI researchers focus more on scanning the cosmos for radio signals and less on UFO sightings, as there is no solid evidence linking UFOs to extraterrestrial intelligence. Some scientists argue that if aliens were visiting Earth, we should expect more consistent and detectable evidence, such as clear radio signals, biological traces, or repeated patterns of contact. In 2021, the U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, released a UAP report, which acknowledged that some sightings defied explanation but did not confirm any extraterrestrial origin. Instead, the report emphasized the need for further scientific study and data collection, a move welcomed by some researchers who want to bring the topic into mainstream science without the stigma. Organizations like NASA and the Galileo Project, led by Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb, have begun systematic efforts to study unidentified aerial phenomena using high-tech instruments rather than relying on eyewitness accounts. Loeb, in particular, has suggested that some interstellar objects, such as the mysterious Oumuamua, which passed through our solar system in 2017, could be of artificial origin rather than just space debris. While most of the scientific community remains skeptical, his work has at least encouraged serious academic discussion on the topic. Ultimately, science operates on evidence, not belief. Without concrete proof, such as a verifiable alien artifact or unambiguous sensor data, UFOs remain an open question. While the majority of cases will likely have conventional explanations, the pursuit of the unknown is at the heart of scientific discovery. Whether UFOs lead us to new physics, advanced human-made technology, or simply better understandings of the natural world, one thing is certain: serious scientific inquiry is the best way to separate fact from fiction. The possibility of extraterrestrial life: are we alone? One of the biggest questions in the UFO discussion is whether these sightings are evidence of extraterrestrial life. While no definitive proof of alien visitors has been found, the idea that life exists elsewhere in the universe is widely accepted by scientists. Given the sheer size of the cosmos, with hundreds of billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars and planets, it seems unlikely that Earth is the only place where life has developed. The Drake equation, proposed by astrophysicist Frank Drake in 1961, attempts to estimate the number of civilizations in our galaxy that could communicate with us. While many of its variables are still unknown, such as how often life actually emerges on habitable planets, recent discoveries of exoplanets, planets orbiting other stars, have strengthened the case for extraterrestrial life. Scientists now believe that potentially billions of Earth-like planets exist in the Milky Way alone, increasing the chances that life has developed elsewhere. However, life doesn't necessarily mean intelligent life. Most astrobiologists believe that microbial life, bacteria-like organisms, are far more common than advanced civilizations. Efforts like the Mars rovers and upcoming missions to Europa and Enceladus, moons of Jupiter and Saturn, respectively, are focused on finding evidence of simple lifeforms in the form of microscopic organisms beneath layers of ice or in ancient rock formations. As for intelligent extraterrestrial beings, the Fermi paradox presents an interesting contradiction. If the universe is so vast and old, and intelligent life is common, then where is everybody? Why haven't we detected alien civilizations or received signals from them? Some possible explanations include: they're too far away. The vast distances between stars make interstellar travel extremely difficult, even for an advanced civilization. They're avoiding us. Some suggest that advanced civilizations may deliberately avoid contact with younger, less developed ones. They've gone extinct. Many civilizations may self-destruct before they reach interstellar capabilities, due to war, resource depletion, or other disasters. We're not looking the right way. Our current technology may not be advanced enough to detect extraterrestrial signals, or we may be searching in the wrong part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Some scientists, like Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, argue that we may have already encountered interstellar technology. He suggests that the 2017 interstellar object Oumuamua could have been an artificial probe rather than a natural asteroid, due to its unusual acceleration and shape. While most scientists believe it was a natural object, Loeb's hypothesis has sparked renewed interest in studying unexplained cosmic phenomena scientifically. Despite all the speculation, there is still no hard evidence that aliens have visited Earth. Many believe that if intelligent extraterrestrials were observing us, we would see clearer signs, radio transmissions, artificial satellites, or some form of intentional communication. Until we have definitive proof, the search for alien life remains one of the most fascinating and open-ended scientific pursuits. So, could UFOs be alien spacecraft? While it's an exciting possibility, scientists emphasize that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Until then, the best way forward is to keep exploring, researching, and keeping an open yet skeptical mind. Government involvement and secret programs. How much does the government know? One of the most persistent questions in the UFO discussion is how much governments know about unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, and whether they have been hiding information from the public. For decades, rumors of secret investigations, hidden extraterrestrial evidence, and classified military encounters have fueled speculation. While some of these claims veer into conspiracy territory, there is evidence that governments have indeed taken UFOs seriously, at least as potential national security concerns. One of the earliest known government programs related to UFOs was Project Blue Book, a U.S. Air Force initiative that ran from 1952 to 1969. Its purpose was to collect and analyze UFO reports to determine whether they posed a threat. Out of more than 12,000 reported sightings, most were explained as natural phenomena, but 701 cases remained unidentified. The project ultimately concluded that UFOs were not a threat to national security, but skeptics argue that the military had deeper knowledge than what was publicly released. Perhaps the most infamous government-related UFO mystery is Area 51, a top-secret U.S. military base in Nevada. While it is now known to be a testing site for experimental aircraft like the U-2 spy plane and stealth bombers, many believe it also holds evidence of extraterrestrial technology. These theories were fueled by claims from Bob Lazar, who in 1989 said he had worked at a hidden facility near Area 51, reverse engineering alien spacecraft. However, no hard evidence has ever surfaced to support his story, and many aspects of his background remain disputed. More recently, in 2017, the New York Times revealed the existence of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ADIP, a secret Pentagon program that studied UFOs from 2007 to 2012. The revelation came with the release of 3 declassified U.S. Navy videos showing unidentified objects performing maneuvers beyond known human technology. Pilots described these objects as moving at extreme speeds, rotating in midair, and lacking visible propulsion systems. The government officially acknowledged these encounters but did not confirm their origins. In 2021, the U.S. government took another step by releasing a UAP report that analyzed 144 military encounters with unidentified aerial objects. The report admitted that most of these sightings remain unexplained and stated that some could represent advanced foreign technology. However, no evidence of extraterrestrial origins was presented. This marked a major shift in how UFOs are discussed, no longer dismissed outright, but treated as a matter of airspace security and scientific investigation. There have also been recent claims from whistleblowers. In 2023, former intelligence officer David Grush testified before Congress that the U.S. government has been secretly recovering and studying non-human technology for decades. While his statements caused a stir, critics pointed out that he did not present direct evidence, only second-hand reports from sources he could not disclose due to security clearance restrictions. Beyond the US, other governments have also conducted UFO investigations. The UK's Ministry of Defence ran Project Condign, which analysed UFO sightings until 2000. France has GAIPAN, an official agency dedicated to studying aerial anomalies. Even Russia and China are believed to have classified programs researching UAPs, though little information is publicly available. The big question remains, are governments hiding the truth? Some believe that secrecy is necessary to protect national security, while others think the public has a right to know if Earth has been visited by extraterrestrials. Skeptics argue that while governments may conceal classified aircraft programs, there is no solid proof they are hiding alien technology. Until more evidence emerges, government involvement in UFO research remains a mix of official reports, speculation, and mystery. Whether future disclosures will reveal groundbreaking truths or just more unanswered questions is something we'll have to wait and see. The role of military encounters: what do pilots and soldiers see? Some of the most compelling UFO sightings come from military pilots and personnel, who are trained observers with experience distinguishing between conventional aircraft and unusual aerial objects. Unlike civilian sightings, which can often be dismissed as misidentifications, military encounters are documented with radar data, infrared footage, and multiple eyewitness accounts. One of the most famous cases is the 2004 USS Nimitz Tic-Tac encounter. Several U.S. Navy pilots reported a white, oval-shaped object about 40 feet in size, moving in ways that defied known physics, accelerating instantly, stopping midair, and diving into the ocean without making a splash. The pilots were left stunned, and infrared footage of the encounter was later leaked to the public before being confirmed as authentic by the U.S. government. In 2015, Navy pilots flying off the U.S. East Coast encountered multiple gimbal UFOs, described as rotating craft with no visible propulsion. These objects would hover at high altitudes before rapidly accelerating away, beyond what any known aircraft could achieve. The pilots were baffled, with one famously saying, "Look at that thing. It's rotating." The event was captured on video and later released as part of the Pentagon's declassified UAP reports. Military encounters with UFOs aren't just a modern phenomenon. During World War II, both Allied and Axis pilots reported strange glowing orbs in the sky, which became known as Foo Fighters. Initially suspected to be enemy technology, no explanation was ever found, and they remain one of history's unsolved aviation mysteries. Similarly, during the Cold War, both the US and Soviet Union tracked numerous unidentified aerial objects, sometimes fearing they were spy aircraft or secret weapons. Declassified documents reveal that governments on both sides took these incidents seriously, as they didn't want to be caught off guard by advanced enemy technology. More recently, in 2023, reports emerged that U.S. Navy ships have encountered swarms of unidentified drones that moved with unusual speed and coordination. Some speculated they could be advanced surveillance technology from foreign adversaries, but the exact nature of these objects remains unknown. Military encounters add credibility to the UFO phenomenon because they involve trained professionals, high-tech sensors, and classified government investigations. While most skeptics believe these incidents can eventually be explained by advanced drones, experimental aircraft, or sensor glitches, others argue that the extreme speeds, acceleration, and maneuverability suggest something beyond human technology. The Pentagon has acknowledged that some of these encounters remain unexplained and that further investigation is needed. The big question is whether these objects represent foreign surveillance technology, an unknown natural phenomenon, or something far more extraordinary. Until more data is released, these military encounters will continue to fuel speculation and debate. Civilian sightings and eyewitness accounts: what do regular people see? While military encounters and government investigations grab much of the attention, civilian UFO sightings make up the majority of reports and are often where the most intriguing and diverse accounts come from. Unlike the trained observers in the military, regular people, whether they're out for a walk, driving home, or even sitting at home watching TV, are just as likely to witness something they can't explain. The 1973 Pascagoula abduction is one of the most famous civilian UFO encounters in history. Two men, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, were fishing near Pascagoula, Mississippi, when they reported seeing a bright light in the sky, followed by the appearance of a craft with strange creatures inside. They claimed to be abducted by these beings and subjected to strange experiments. The case became national news, and the witnesses were interviewed by a variety of authorities, but the lack of physical evidence left many questioning the truth of the account. Still, the men stood by their story, and it remains one of the most notable abduction claims in UFO history. Another high-profile case occurred in Phoenix, Arizona, in 1997, when thousands of residents saw a massive V-shaped formation of lights moving silently across the sky. The event, known as the Phoenix Lights, remains one of the most widely witnessed UFO sightings in modern history. While the U.S. military later explained the phenomenon as flares dropped by aircraft during training exercises, many witnesses remain unconvinced, noting the size, formation, and silent movement of the lights. The sheer number of individuals who reported the sighting lends credibility to the idea that something unusual occurred that night. Civilian sightings are not always so dramatic or eventful, but they are often shared in online forums and UFO communities, leading to wide dissemination of new encounters. Many people report seeing lights in the sky, often in unusual patterns, such as erratic movement or hovering in one place for an extended period. Others claim to have seen strange objects shaped like discs, triangles, or even cigar-shaped craft. What's notable about many of these sightings is the sheer diversity of accounts. People from all walks of life report similar strange events despite having no prior interest or knowledge in the UFO phenomenon. The advent of smartphones and social media has allowed for a dramatic increase in civilian UFO reporting. Now, people can immediately share what they see, uploading photos, videos, and testimony for a global audience. This has resulted in an exponential rise in user-generated content related to UFOs, including videos of unexplained lights, objects flying at high speeds, or strange aerial phenomena. However, the proliferation of camera phones and video editing software has also made it easier for hoaxes and manipulated footage to spread, which has made some skeptics wary of trusting these accounts. Despite the increase in technological evidence, some eyewitnesses still report seeing strange craft with no visible propulsion or objects that can make sudden, impossible maneuvers that defy the known laws of physics. Many of these reports include personal testimony that has been consistent for decades. Some witnesses claim to have experienced missing time, memory gaps, or feelings of altered perception after witnessing a UFO event, adding layers of mystery to their stories. While eyewitness testimony is often seen as unreliable by some, there's an undeniable pattern in the kinds of UFOs people report seeing, and the number of cases involving multiple witnesses increases the credibility of certain events. Civilian UFO sightings can't be dismissed outright, as they often present unique perspectives on phenomena that are either difficult to capture or explain. Many of these reports, especially those from remote rural areas or during low traffic times, offer a valuable opportunity to study UFOs in a context that may not be influenced by the noise of other reports or media. Even if there is no clear scientific explanation, the fact that so many people, often with no prior interest in UFOs, are willing to come forward and share their experiences means that the topic remains as much a part of popular culture as ever. Whether their accounts are indicative of alien visitors or simply unexplained natural phenomena, civilian sightings continue to be a fascinating and often perplexing element of the UFO narrative. The media's influence on UFOs, how films and TV shape our perception. The role of media, particularly films, television, and news outlets, has played an enormous part in shaping public perception of UFOs. From the early days of science fiction to modern documentary-style investigations, how UFOs are portrayed in the media has significantly influenced how the general public thinks about the phenomenon. Media can shape not only what people believe but also how they interpret sightings and events. The 1950s and 1960s saw the rise of classic UFO films like The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977, which popularized the notion of extraterrestrial beings visiting Earth. These films depicted aliens as both peaceful and hostile, presenting an idea of first contact that fascinated audiences. The combination of special effects, suspense, and speculation about life beyond Earth created a sense of mystery and wonder that permeated everyday life. The iconic image of the flying saucer became a pop culture symbol, setting the stage for decades of UFO-themed media. TV shows like The X-Files, 1993 to 2018, further fueled the alien conspiracy theory narrative, blending government cover-ups, shadowy organizations, and extraterrestrial encounters in a way that captivated millions. By presenting UFOs as part of a larger government conspiracy, these shows made the idea of an extraterrestrial presence seem not only possible but plausible. The show's tagline, "The truth is out there," became a cultural phenomenon, influencing generations of viewers to question official accounts of UFO sightings and government secrecy. Even news outlets have played a crucial role in bringing UFOs into the mainstream conversation. When the U.S. government released declassified footage of Navy pilots encountering UAPs in 2017, it was covered extensively by news networks and sparked a renewed public interest in UFOs. This, combined with the release of the UAP report in 2021, allowed media outlets to explore UFOs in a more serious, fact-based manner. While the footage and reports were not conclusive in proving extraterrestrial life, they did legitimize the phenomenon and pushed UFOs into the mainstream, away from the realm of fringe conspiracy theories. The media also plays a pivotal role in how debunking and skepticism are portrayed. Films like The Man Who Fell to Earth, 1976, or In the Shadow of the Moon, 2007, emphasize the gap between the pursuit of the unknown and the challenges faced by scientists and skeptics alike. These portrayals often make the scientific method and rigorous inquiry look like the best tools for uncovering the truth. However, media depictions of UFOs aren't always serious or grounded in reality. Shows like Ancient Aliens, 2009 present, lean heavily into the idea that extraterrestrials have been visiting Earth for thousands of years, influencing human culture, and perhaps even playing a role in our evolution. While these ideas are entertaining, they often lack the hard evidence to back them up, leading to a mix of speculation and misinformation. Many critics argue that such programs perpetuate myths, causing more confusion around UFO sightings by presenting far-fetched theories as fact. Social media has also amplified the discussion surrounding UFOs. Platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube have allowed people to share their own UFO sightings, leading to viral trends and debates. This democratization of information means that anyone can share their experiences and theories, but it also makes it difficult to separate fact from fiction. Misinformation, hoaxes, and viral content sometimes cloud what might otherwise be serious discussions about UFOs, making it harder for the public to discern credible sources from entertainment-driven narratives. Overall, the media has been instrumental in shaping the public's perception of UFOs, both positively and negatively. While it has given people the language and imagery to talk about UFOs in the first place, it has also led to a blending of fact and fiction, where the lines between reality and speculation are often blurry. As UFOs become a more serious topic of discussion in the scientific community and government, it will be interesting to see how media outlets continue to handle the subject, and whether they will be able to move beyond entertainment to offer more grounded, objective reporting on the phenomenon. The impact of technology on UFO research, how advancements are changing the game. Technology has played a pivotal role in shaping how we study and understand UFOs. As new tools, instruments, and scientific methods become available, they not only make it easier to capture evidence of UFOs but also provide fresh insights into phenomena that were once considered purely anecdotal. The way sightings are recorded and analyzed has drastically changed, offering new hope that UFOs can be studied more systematically rather than dismissed as mere mysteries or hoaxes. Radar technology is one of the most important advancements in UFO research. Early UFO reports were largely based on eyewitness testimony, which was often dismissed as unreliable. However, military radar systems have provided valuable objective data to back up claims. Radar can track objects that are too fast or too small to be picked up by the naked eye, allowing scientists to study the speed, altitude, and trajectory of unidentified flying objects. For example, military encounters involving UFOs have often included radar data, allowing for a more comprehensive analysis of these phenomena. The 2020 Pentagon UAP report made use of radar data from military personnel to further explore encounters between Navy pilots and unidentified objects. Advancements in infrared, IR, and thermal imaging technology have also opened new doors. Infrared cameras can detect heat signatures, which is useful when trying to capture unexplained objects in the sky, particularly at night. Thermal imaging allows investigators to track UFOs even when they are not visible to the naked eye. This has been particularly useful in military encounters where UFOs perform rapid maneuvers or travel at speeds that far exceed the capabilities of conventional aircraft. Infrared footage captured by U.S. Navy pilots in 2004, during the famous Tic-Tac UFO encounter, was a breakthrough moment, showcasing objects moving without any visible means of propulsion. These kinds of images offer the potential for more concrete data than ever before. The rise of drone technology has also changed how UFO investigations are conducted. Drones can be deployed to follow potential UFOs in real time, offering an unprecedented level of mobility and observation. Researchers can send drones to remote areas where UFOs have been reported and capture high-definition video footage of the objects in question. These drones can be equipped with various sensors, including infrared and high-resolution cameras, to gather detailed data that would have been impossible with traditional surveillance methods. This also allows scientists and investigators to reproduce sightings in controlled environments, increasing the accuracy of analysis. The advent of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning is further enhancing UFO research. AI can help process large amounts of data, such as satellite images, radar reports, and eyewitness testimonies, to identify potential patterns or anomalies that might have been overlooked. By analyzing these vast datasets, researchers can develop more precise models of what UFOs could be, based on historical sightings and known technology. AI could even be used to create simulations to predict how certain objects might behave, potentially leading to breakthroughs in understanding unusual aerial phenomena. Social media and crowdsourced data have also had a major influence. With the rise of smartphone cameras, regular citizens can now document UFO sightings instantly and share them on platforms like Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit. While some of this content is questionable or hoaxed, other videos and photos provide valuable data for investigation. Advances in image processing software can help investigators filter out fakes and refine what's real, allowing them to focus on genuine sightings. Crowdsourced data also allows for the collection of sightings from around the world, which can then be cross-referenced to identify recurring patterns or trends. Finally, space exploration technologies are beginning to play a role in UFO research. As we continue to explore our own solar system, whether through missions to Mars, the moons of Jupiter, or asteroids, scientists are becoming increasingly adept at observing the cosmos. With new space telescopes and exploration rovers, we're constantly gathering more data about distant planets and celestial phenomena. Some UFO researchers speculate that alien probes might be monitoring Earth from afar, and as we improve our ability to observe objects in space, we may one day detect such objects or clues that could shed light on whether UFOs are truly extraterrestrial. Ultimately, technological advancements are drastically changing the landscape of UFO research. From high-tech radar systems to crowdsourced videos, scientists and researchers now have more tools than ever before to study UFOs with greater precision. While we may not yet have definitive proof of extraterrestrial life, these technologies are bringing us closer to answering one of the most profound questions humanity has ever faced: are we alone? Government secrecy and disclosure. What do governments know? Government secrecy surrounding UFOs has been one of the most controversial and debated aspects of the phenomenon. For decades, governments around the world have been accused of covering up information related to UFO sightings, alien encounters, and possible extraterrestrial contact. This secrecy has led to a growing mistrust between the public and the authorities, with many believing that vital information has been intentionally hidden to prevent widespread panic or because of a government agenda. One of the most famous cases involving government secrecy is the Roswell incident of 1947. Initially, the U.S. military issued a press release claiming to have recovered a flying disc from a crash site near Roswell, New Mexico. However, just hours later, the military changed the statement, claiming the object was a weather balloon. This sudden shift in the narrative raised suspicion that the U.S. government was covering up something far more significant. In the decades that followed, conspiracy theories about UFOs, alien bodies, and secret government projects grew rampant, leading many to believe that the true nature of the Roswell incident was never revealed. The Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, has allowed for the declassification of certain UFO-related documents, leading to a slow but steady release of information over the years. Some of the most noteworthy releases include the 1970s U.S. Air Force Project Blue Book files, which documented thousands of UFO sightings and encounters investigated by the military. While Project Blue Book ultimately concluded that most sightings could be explained by natural or man-made phenomena, the reports raised questions about the remaining unexplained cases. The secrecy surrounding UFOs became more pronounced during the Cold War, when the US and the Soviet Union were engaged in a tense arms race. Both nations were deeply concerned about spying and the possibility of advanced foreign technology, so UFO sightings were often treated with extreme caution. It's widely believed that any sighting that didn't fit into conventional military or civilian categories was kept classified to prevent enemy nations from learning too much about potential military capabilities. The fear of foreign surveillance and the potential for psychological warfare also contributed to the decision to keep UFO sightings under wraps. In recent years, however, there has been a shift toward more transparency. In 2017, the New York Times published a groundbreaking article revealing the existence of a Pentagon UFO program called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ADIP, which investigated unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, from 2007 to 2012. This disclosure was followed by the release of official military footage of encounters between Navy pilots and UAPs, including the famous Tic-Tac UFO encounter. The U.S. government's acknowledgement of these encounters, and the subsequent declassification of the footage, marked a major turning point in how the subject of UFOs was treated by the public. The Pentagon's 2020 and 2021 UAP reports, which confirmed the authenticity of some UFO videos and outlined their unexplained nature, further bolstered the legitimacy of UFO research. In 2021, the U.S. government's UAP report acknowledged that a number of sightings could not be explained, and a new UAP task force was created to investigate the phenomenon further. The report stated that while most sightings could be attributed to foreign adversaries or misidentified natural phenomena, there was still a significant number of unidentified objects that posed a potential national security risk. This admission of uncertainty and the subsequent formation of a task force signaled a new era of government transparency regarding UFOs, though the information released has been limited and carefully controlled. The question remains, why the secrecy? Some believe that governments are withholding information about extraterrestrial encounters to avoid public panic or mass hysteria. Others argue that military and intelligence agencies are aware of more advanced foreign technology, perhaps even reverse-engineered UFO technology, and don't want to reveal their hand. It's also possible that some UFOs could be linked to classified military projects, and releasing information could compromise national security. Finally, there's the theory that governments might be in contact with extraterrestrial civilizations, but are keeping that information hidden to maintain control over global affairs. While governments, particularly the U.S. government, have taken steps toward greater openness in recent years, full disclosure has not yet occurred. Documents are still being released slowly, and many UFO files remain classified or redacted. It's likely that increased pressure from the public, as well as the growing influence of UFO researchers, will lead to further revelations in the coming years. Whether these revelations will confirm the existence of extraterrestrial life or simply point to more mundane explanations remains to be seen. The future of UFO disclosure is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the days of complete government secrecy are numbered. As we move further into the 21st century, the push for full transparency, supported by growing public interest and technological advancements, may eventually force governments to reveal the truth about UFOs, whatever that truth may be. UFOs and national security: are UFOs a threat to global safety? One of the most pressing concerns when it comes to UFOs is whether they pose a threat to national security. While many UFO sightings are dismissed as misunderstandings or natural phenomena, others exhibit behaviors that defy conventional explanations and raise serious questions about their intentions. In recent years, military personnel, government officials, and intelligence agencies have begun to acknowledge that UFOs, now often referred to as Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAPs, are a real and pressing concern for national security. But what makes UFOs potentially dangerous? One of the most concerning aspects of UFO sightings is their apparent technological superiority. Military personnel who have encountered UFOs, particularly U.S. Navy pilots, have reported objects performing maneuvers that are physically impossible for known human-made aircraft. These objects can travel at extreme speeds, change direction instantly, and hover in place for extended periods without any visible means of propulsion. For example, the 2004 Tic-Tac UFO encounter involved a U.S. Navy fighter pilot who described tracking a strange object that outpaced his aircraft and performed impossible aerial maneuvers. Such technology, if in the hands of an adversary, could present a serious risk to national security. The Pentagon's 2020 UAP report made it clear that some UAPs observed by military personnel exhibit characteristics that don't align with any known aircraft or ballistic missiles. The report highlighted the possibility that these objects could be foreign adversaries' advanced technology, particularly from countries like China or Russia. Given the significant technological gaps between the U.S. and its rivals, some experts believe that hostile nations might have developed cutting-edge military technology that is being tested in the form of UAPs. The prospect of an advanced, unknown foreign weapon in U.S. airspace is a major national security concern, as it could potentially evade detection by conventional radar systems and other defense mechanisms. However, there are also fears that UFOs could be something entirely different, such as extraterrestrial in origin. While this idea remains speculative, the fact that many UAPs have been observed in restricted military airspace, often interacting with military assets such as fighter jets and missile silos, has sparked concerns that these objects might be probing or gathering intelligence on military capabilities. In 2019, reports surfaced that UFOs were regularly seen hovering near nuclear missile silos in the United States, leading some to speculate that these objects might have a specific interest in nuclear weapons. Whether they are extraterrestrial or some form of advanced human technology, the fact that UFOs are interacting with sensitive military infrastructure is cause for concern. The national security threat angle was further emphasized with the creation of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAP, task force in 2020 by the U.S. Department of Defense. The task force was specifically designed to investigate the potential threat posed by UFOs, particularly those observed by military personnel. The U.S. government has been clear that UFOs, whether they are foreign-made or extraterrestrial, could pose a risk to both national security and aviation safety. Given the increasing number of near-miss incidents between UFOs and military aircraft, the potential for miscommunication or miscalculation in these encounters is a serious concern. If UFOs were to ever engage in hostile behavior, or even be mistaken for an enemy threat, it could escalate into international conflict. Another key concern is the potential for espionage. If UFOs are a form of foreign technology, it's possible they are being used to gather intelligence on military movements, nuclear capabilities, or strategic operations. The ability to traverse large distances at high speeds, remain undetected by conventional radar, and perform unusual maneuvers makes UFOs an ideal tool for surveillance. For military strategists, the possibility of unmanned craft collecting sensitive data from within restricted airspace without being noticed could be considered a serious security breach. Finally, there's the issue of public reaction. If the true nature of UFOs were revealed, whether they are extraterrestrial, foreign technology, or even military black projects, the public response could create panic or social unrest. Governments around the world are reluctant to fully disclose information about UFOs for fear that it might undermine public trust in institutions or lead to widespread confusion and fear. The psychological impact of revealing that the world is not alone in the universe or that there is advanced technology beyond our understanding could have serious ramifications for global stability. In the end, the threat assessment of UFOs remains a highly debated topic within national security circles. While some believe that these phenomena represent a genuine risk, either from hostile nations or extraterrestrial forces, others contend that they may simply be an unexplained anomaly or misidentified natural occurrences. Regardless of their origin, the fact that UFOs have consistently been observed in restricted military zones and have interacted with military assets suggests that they should not be ignored. As technology improves and more sightings are investigated, the possibility that UFOs could be a threat to global safety remains a crucial aspect of the ongoing UFO conversation. Scientific skepticism and the search for evidence, how the scientific community approaches UFOs. The topic of UFOs has long been met with skepticism within the scientific community. While countless people have reported seeing unexplained objects in the sky, mainstream scientists tend to demand hard evidence before accepting extraordinary claims. The phrase, "extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence," made famous by astronomer Carl Sagan, reflects the fundamental reason why many scientists hesitate to take UFO reports seriously. However, in recent years, attitudes within the scientific world have started to shift as more credible data emerges. One of the biggest issues preventing UFOs from being widely accepted as a legitimate scientific subject is the lack of reproducible evidence. Science relies on repeatable experiments and observations to confirm the existence of a phenomenon. Many UFO sightings, however, are based on anecdotal evidence, meaning they come from personal testimonies rather than data that can be tested or verified under controlled conditions. While some sightings include radar data, photographs, or video recordings, these are often dismissed due to the possibility of hoaxes, misinterpretations, or technological errors. Without concrete physical evidence, such as a recovered craft or materials of non-human origin, it remains difficult for scientists to confidently study UFOs as more than an unexplained mystery. However, skepticism does not mean complete dismissal. Some scientists argue that the subject of UFOs has been unfairly stigmatized, preventing serious academic research into the phenomenon. In the past, scientists who expressed interest in UFOs risked damaging their reputations and careers. This stigma was largely fueled by government secrecy, conspiracy theories, and Hollywood depictions of UFOs as alien spacecraft, which made the topic seem unscientific. Yet, despite this, there have been serious scientific efforts to analyze UFO reports. One notable example is the 1973 study by physicist Edward Condon, known as the Condon Report, which was commissioned by the U.S. Air Force. The study examined hundreds of UFO cases but ultimately concluded that there was no evidence of extraterrestrial origin and that further research was unlikely to yield useful scientific discoveries. However, critics of the study argued that it was biased from the start, aiming to dismiss the phenomenon rather than genuinely investigate it. More recently, the Pentagon's UAP investigations and the acknowledgement of military encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena have encouraged some scientists to revisit the UFO question. The 2021 U.S. government UAP report openly admitted that certain sightings could not be explained by conventional technology or natural phenomena, leading some in the scientific community to consider alternative possibilities. While this doesn't confirm an extraterrestrial origin, it does suggest that there may be unknown aerial phenomena worth investigating scientifically. Some scientists, including former Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, have proposed that some UFOs may be of interstellar origin. Loeb's controversial Oumuamua theory suggested that an unidentified object passing through our solar system in 2017 could have been an alien probe rather than a natural asteroid. While most astronomers dismissed this idea, Loeb has continued advocating for serious scientific research into UFOs and possible extraterrestrial artifacts, launching projects like the Galileo Project to search for evidence of non-human technology. Another significant shift in scientific attitudes toward UFOs comes from the field of astronomy and astrobiology. With the discovery of thousands of exoplanets, some of which lie in the habitable zone where life could exist, the idea that we might not be alone in the universe is now taken far more seriously than in past decades. Scientists involved in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI, continue scanning the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, but some researchers argue that instead of looking deep into space, we should also investigate potential evidence closer to home, including unidentified aerial phenomena. Skeptics within the scientific community argue that natural explanations for UFOs are far more likely than extraterrestrial ones. Many reported sightings can be attributed to atmospheric phenomena such as ball lightning, optical illusions, or unusual weather conditions. Others are simply misidentified aircraft, drones, or classified military technology. The increasing presence of commercial drones, experimental aircraft, and even space debris has further complicated the identification of aerial objects, making it more difficult to separate genuine anomalies from conventional explanations. Ultimately, the scientific approach to UFOs is evolving. While mainstream science still requires stronger evidence before fully embracing the topic, the growing acknowledgement of unexplained sightings by credible sources, combined with advances in technology, space exploration, and artificial intelligence, is making UFO research more respectable than ever before. As new scientific initiatives emerge and data collection improves, the gap between skepticism and belief may eventually narrow, leading us closer to understanding what UFOs truly are. Media influence and pop culture, how UFOs became a global phenomenon. The way we perceive UFOs has been shaped not only by real-world events but also by the media and popular culture. Over the decades, films, television shows, books, and news coverage have played a massive role in shaping public opinion about UFOs, often blurring the lines between fiction and reality. While the media has helped bring attention to the UFO phenomenon, it has also contributed to misconceptions, sensationalism, and even paranoia. The modern UFO craze arguably began with the Roswell incident in 1947 and the infamous flying saucer sighting reported by pilot Kenneth Arnold in the same year. These events were widely covered by newspapers, setting off a wave of UFO hysteria in the United States and beyond. During the Cold War era, UFO stories became even more common, partly fueled by fears of Soviet technology, nuclear war, and the unknown possibilities of space exploration. By the 1950s and 1960s, UFOs had firmly taken root in pop culture, with movies such as The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951, and War of the Worlds, 1953, portraying extraterrestrial visitors as both saviors and threats. These films reflected societal anxieties, using alien invasions as metaphors for the Cold War and the fear of the other. Similarly, television shows like The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits introduced audiences to thought-provoking stories about extraterrestrial life, government conspiracies, and the nature of reality itself. The 1970s and 1980s saw an explosion of UFO-themed media, largely influenced by alleged abduction cases and government secrecy rumors. The 1977 release of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, directed by Steven Spielberg, cemented the idea that UFOs could be linked to intelligent extraterrestrial beings trying to make contact with humanity. Around this time, the alien abduction phenomenon also gained mainstream attention, with cases like Betty and Barney Hill's widely publicized encounter adding to the mystery. By the 1990s, UFO culture had fully entered the mainstream, thanks to TV shows like The X-Files, which introduced millions to government cover-ups, conspiracies, and secret alien experiments. The phrase, "the truth is out there," became an iconic slogan, reflecting a growing distrust in government institutions and a belief that officials were hiding information about UFOs. Meanwhile, blockbuster films such as Independence Day, 1996, and Men in Black, 1997, portrayed UFOs in different ways, either as apocalyptic invaders or as part of a secret world hidden from the public. In the 21st century, the internet revolutionized UFO culture, allowing anyone with a smartphone to capture strange objects in the sky and share their footage instantly. Online communities, conspiracy forums, and YouTube channels dedicated to UFOs have amplified public interest, but they have also led to an increase in misinformation, hoaxes, and deepfake videos. Some argue that the sheer volume of fake UFO sightings has actually made it harder to take legitimate cases seriously. More recently, the release of declassified military UFO videos by the Pentagon and credible news reports from sources like the New York Times have shifted the narrative once again. Now, rather than being purely a topic for entertainment, UFOs are increasingly being treated as a scientific and military issue. Even so, the influence of Hollywood, social media, and conspiracy theories continues to shape how the public interprets these events. The question remains, does the media reflect reality, or does it create it? Are we influenced to believe in alien visitations because of movies and TV shows, or do these stories stem from genuine experiences that people have had? Regardless of the answer, one thing is clear: UFOs are no longer just a subject for scientists and military officials. They are deeply embedded in our global consciousness, forever changing the way we view the sky above us. Government secrecy and UFO disclosure, what are they hiding? One of the most persistent aspects of the UFO phenomenon is the belief that governments, particularly the United States government, are hiding the truth about unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. For decades, UFO enthusiasts, researchers, and former government insiders have alleged that world governments possess classified information about UFOs, including physical evidence, crashed spacecraft, and even contact with extraterrestrials. But is there any truth to these claims, or is the idea of a massive cover-up just another conspiracy theory? The roots of government secrecy on UFOs go back to at least the 1940s, when the U.S. military started taking UFO sightings seriously. In 1947, the Roswell incident sparked global curiosity after reports surfaced that an unknown craft had crashed in New Mexico. While the U.S. military initially claimed they had retrieved a flying disc, they later changed the story, stating that it was merely a weather balloon. This sudden reversal fueled speculation that the government was hiding something much bigger. To this day, Roswell remains one of the most famous UFO cover-up allegations, with many believing the wreckage was actually from a non-human craft. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, the U.S. government conducted official investigations into UFOs, the most well-known being Project Blue Book. This Air Force program, which ran from 1952 to 1969, examined thousands of UFO reports but ultimately concluded that there was no evidence of extraterrestrial technology or a threat to national security. However, many critics argue that Project Blue Book was never intended to find the truth, but rather to debunk sightings and reassure the public. Declassified documents have since revealed that many high-ranking officials did take UFOs seriously, even as they publicly dismissed them. The secrecy surrounding UFOs intensified during the Cold War, as the US and the Soviet Union were engaged in a technological arms race. Some researchers believe that many UFO sightings during this period were actually classified military aircraft being tested, such as the U-2 spy plane and later the State Route 71 Blackbird. This theory suggests that the government allowed the UFO narrative to flourish as a way to distract from its own secret projects. However, not all sightings can be explained by experimental aircraft, leaving some to wonder what else might be hidden behind the classified walls of military intelligence. More recently, government secrecy on UFOs has come under scrutiny thanks to whistleblowers and declassified documents. In 2017, the New York Times broke the story that the Pentagon had been running a secret UFO program, known as the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP. This revelation confirmed what many had suspected: the U.S. government was still investigating UFOs in secret, long after Project Blue Book had officially ended. The declassified Navy UFO videos, showing fast-moving, unidentified objects performing impossible maneuvers, added further credibility to the idea that UFOs are real and that the military doesn't fully understand them. In 2021, the U.S. government took an unprecedented step by releasing an official UAP report, acknowledging that there were over 140 unexplained cases of unidentified aerial objects observed by military personnel. The report did not confirm that these objects were extraterrestrial, but it did admit that they were not easily explainable and could pose a potential national security threat. While some hailed this as a step toward disclosure, others felt the report was deliberately vague, avoiding deeper questions about what the government actually knows. One of the biggest recent claims came in 2023, when former intelligence officer David Grush testified before the U.S. Congress, stating that the government possesses non-human craft and possibly biological remains retrieved from UFO crash sites. Grush's testimony was shocking, but skeptics argue that he provided no physical evidence to back up his claims. If true, however, his statements suggest a much larger cover-up than previously imagined, one that could involve secret programs studying alien technology in underground labs. The idea that the government is hiding UFO evidence is not limited to the United States. Other countries, including Russia, China, and even Brazil, have had their own classified UFO programs. In some cases, former military officials have spoken out, claiming their governments have recovered unknown craft or encountered UFOs that appeared to be intelligently controlled. Some South American countries have been more open about their findings, even releasing UFO files to the public, something the U.S. has been much more reluctant to do. Despite growing pressure from citizens, researchers, and even lawmakers, full UFO disclosure remains elusive. Governments continue to classify certain documents, citing national security concerns. Some believe this secrecy is due to fears of mass panic, while others think the real reason is to protect advanced technology, whether foreign-made, human-made, or something beyond our understanding. So, what is the truth? Are governments hiding knowledge of extraterrestrials, or is UFO secrecy simply about protecting classified military programs? The answer may lie in a mix of both. What is certain is that secrecy fuels speculation, and as long as the government keeps information hidden, the demand for disclosure will only grow. Until then, the debate over what's really out there, and what governments know about it, will continue to captivate the world. Psychological and sociological aspects. Why do people believe in UFOs? The belief in UFOs and extraterrestrial encounters is not just about evidence or government secrecy, it's also deeply connected to human psychology and society. Throughout history, people have looked to the skies and wondered if we are alone, and as UFO sightings became more common in modern times, they started reflecting our fears, hopes, and imagination. But why do so many people believe in UFOs, even without definitive proof? And what does this say about the way humans process the unknown? One major reason why UFOs fascinate people is the human tendency to seek patterns and meaning in the world. Psychologists call this pareidolia, the brain's habit of finding familiar shapes or explanations in random data. Just as people see faces in clouds or hear hidden messages in music, they might interpret unexplained lights in the sky as structured, intelligent objects. This is especially true in cases where a person expects to see something strange, such as after watching a UFO documentary or hearing a news report about sightings. Another key factor is cognitive biases, particularly confirmation bias, the tendency to focus on information that supports what we already believe while ignoring contradictory evidence. If someone strongly believes in UFOs, they are more likely to interpret a blurry video as an alien craft rather than a drone or weather phenomenon. This bias also plays a role in alien abduction stories, where people might recall dreams, sleep paralysis, or childhood memories as proof of an encounter with extraterrestrials. Sleep paralysis itself is one of the most commonly linked phenomena to alien abduction claims. People experiencing sleep paralysis often describe feeling a presence in the room, being unable to move, and seeing shadowy figures or bright lights. In past centuries, these experiences were often attributed to demons or ghosts, but in modern times, thanks to media influence, many interpret them as alien visitations. This shift in perception highlights how cultural context shapes paranormal experiences. The social aspect of UFO belief is also powerful. Believing in UFOs often provides a sense of belonging to a community that questions mainstream narratives. Online forums, conventions, and groups dedicated to UFO discussions create a shared identity, where believers can exchange experiences and theories without fear of ridicule. This social connection makes UFO beliefs more resilient. People don't just believe in UFOs individually, they reinforce each other's beliefs collectively. Additionally, UFO stories often resonate with deeper human fears and desires. During the Cold War, UFO sightings surged, reflecting widespread anxieties about nuclear war, government secrecy, and the unknown. Similarly, during times of rapid technological advancement, UFO narratives evolved to fit new concerns. For example, modern UFO discussions frequently mention AI, space exploration, and interdimensional travel, reflecting our current era's scientific advancements and uncertainties. On the other hand, UFOs also tap into hope rather than fear. The idea that intelligent extraterrestrials might visit Earth suggests that we are not alone in the universe, and that advanced civilizations exist. This is an exciting and comforting thought for many, especially in a world full of conflict and uncertainty. Some even view UFOs and aliens as potential saviors, capable of bringing solutions to humanity's greatest problems, an idea popularized in movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and The Day the Earth Stood Still. Interestingly, belief in UFOs also correlates with distrust in authorities. Many UFO enthusiasts argue that governments and powerful institutions hide the truth from the public. This belief aligns with conspiracy thinking, where people assume that official explanations are misleading or false. Studies have shown that those who believe in UFOs are also more likely to question mainstream narratives about history, science, and politics. However, skepticism is not always a bad thing. Sometimes, it leads to legitimate questions about what we don't yet understand. Scientists and psychologists recognize that curiosity about the unknown is a natural part of human intelligence. While many UFO sightings have rational explanations, a few remain truly mysterious, and keeping an open but critical mind is key to separating science from speculation. In the end, the human fascination with UFOs is more than just a question of whether aliens exist. It's a reflection of our fears, desires, and the way we make sense of the unknown. Whether or not we ever confirm the existence of extraterrestrial life, UFOs will continue to shape our culture, our beliefs, and the way we look up at the stars. The role of science in investigating UFOs, between skepticism and open-minded inquiry. The study of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, commonly known as UFOs, has long existed in a strange space between scientific skepticism and open-minded curiosity. While some dismiss UFO sightings as misidentified aircraft, natural phenomena, or even hoaxes, others argue that some cases present genuine mysteries that deserve serious scientific investigation. But how does mainstream science approach the UFO phenomenon? And what challenges come with studying something that, by definition, is unidentified? Historically, the scientific community has been reluctant to engage with UFOs, partly because the topic has been associated with conspiracy theories, hoaxes, and sensationalism. Many scientists fear that researching UFOs could harm their professional reputation, leading to what some call the UFO taboo. This stigma has made it difficult for serious researchers to secure funding, publish studies, or gain recognition for their work. However, this attitude has begun to shift in recent years, especially after declassified military reports revealed that trained pilots and radar systems have observed unknown aerial objects behaving in ways that seem to defy our understanding of physics. In response, the scientific community has slowly started taking UFOs more seriously, but with a focus on evidence-based investigation rather than speculation about extraterrestrial visitors. One of the biggest challenges in studying UFOs scientifically is the lack of reliable data. Unlike astronomy or physics, where experiments can be repeated under controlled conditions, UFO sightings are often brief, unpredictable, and difficult to measure accurately. Most reports rely on eyewitness testimony, which is inherently subjective and prone to errors in perception. Even video evidence is often low resolution, ambiguous, and difficult to verify. To address these issues, scientists are advocating for a systematic approach to UFO research. In 2021, NASA announced that it would begin studying UAPs using scientific methods, and in 2023, a panel of experts published recommendations on how to improve data collection. These efforts focus on using advanced sensor technology, such as high-resolution cameras, satellites, and AI-based image analysis, to capture objective, measurable evidence rather than relying on anecdotal reports. Some physicists have even suggested that UFOs could offer insights into new forms of physics. If some of these objects truly exhibit hypersonic speeds, sudden accelerations, or the ability to operate without visible propulsion, they could challenge our current understanding of aerodynamics, gravity, and propulsion technology. While most UFO sightings have conventional explanations, the few that don't raise fascinating questions about what is scientifically possible. Interestingly, the scientific study of UFOs also connects with astrobiology and the search for extraterrestrial life. Organizations like SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, have been scanning the skies for radio signals from alien civilizations for decades. While SETI focuses on detecting distant signals rather than UFOs on Earth, both efforts ultimately seek to answer the same question: are we alone in the universe? Despite these developments, many challenges remain. Scientists investigating UFOs must navigate institutional skepticism, limited funding, and the overwhelming amount of misinformation surrounding the topic. At the same time, the public demand for answers is growing, with many calling for greater transparency in government UFO research. As science progresses, one thing is certain: UFOs are no longer just a topic for conspiracy theorists and science fiction fans. They are now a subject of legitimate scientific inquiry, and as technology improves, we may finally get closer to understanding what's really behind the most puzzling sightings. Whether the answer turns out to be advanced physics, unknown natural phenomena, or even extraterrestrial life, one thing remains clear: UFOs represent one of the greatest scientific mysteries of our time. The future of UFO research: what comes next? As our understanding of the universe expands, so too does the mystery surrounding UFOs, or Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAPs. With recent advancements in technology, increasing government transparency, and a growing scientific interest in the topic, the future of UFO research looks more promising than ever. But what comes next? Will we finally uncover definitive proof of extraterrestrial life, or will we find that the answers lie closer to home? One of the biggest shifts in recent years has been government involvement in UFO research. Historically, UFO sightings were dismissed or covered up by official agencies, but today, things are changing. The U.S. government has declassified multiple reports on UAPs, and in 2022, the Pentagon even established the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, to investigate these phenomena. Meanwhile, NASA has launched its own independent study on UAPs, aiming to apply scientific methods to the mystery. As more data is collected and analyzed, we may soon have a much clearer understanding of what's really happening in our skies. Another exciting development is the role of advanced technology in UFO detection. In the past, UFO research relied heavily on eyewitness accounts and grainy footage, both of which are unreliable. Today, however, AI-powered image analysis, high-resolution satellites, and sophisticated radar systems are helping scientists track and identify unknown aerial objects more accurately than ever before. These tools could help separate natural or human-made objects from truly unexplainable phenomena, bringing more credibility to the field. Space exploration is also a key factor in the future of UFO research. As organizations like NASA, SpaceX, and Blue Origin push further into the cosmos, the chances of encountering extraterrestrial life, or at least finding evidence of it, are increasing. With planned missions to Mars, Europa, and exoplanets beyond our solar system, we are getting closer to answering one of humanity's biggest questions: are we alone? If microbial life is discovered elsewhere, it could reshape how we view UFOs and the possibility of intelligent extraterrestrial visitors. Additionally, public interest in UFOs is at an all-time high, thanks to social media and digital technology. In the past, UFO reports were often ignored or dismissed, but today, a single UFO sighting can go viral worldwide within hours. This increased awareness has led to more citizen-led investigations, with independent researchers, amateur astronomers, and even private companies contributing to data collection. Some scientists argue that crowdsourced UFO research could provide valuable insights, as long as it is done with proper scientific rigor. However, despite these advancements, many challenges remain. The stigma surrounding UFO research still exists, and some skeptics worry that hoaxes, misinformation, and conspiracy theories could overshadow legitimate investigations. Distinguishing between real scientific discoveries and sensationalized claims will be crucial as the field moves forward. In the end, the future of UFO research depends on our ability to approach the subject with an open but critical mind. Whether the answer lies in undiscovered natural phenomena, secret military technology, or even extraterrestrial intelligence, one thing is certain: the search for truth is far from over. As technology improves and more data becomes available, we may be on the verge of solving one of the greatest mysteries of our time, or discovering that the universe is even stranger than we ever imagined. Conclusion: the unfinished story of UFOs. As we reach the end of this exploration into UFOs, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the mystery is far from solved. For centuries, people have looked to the skies and seen things they couldn't explain: lights darting at impossible speeds, silent craft hovering in defiance of physics, and encounters that leave behind more questions than answers. Some dismiss these sightings as misinterpretations, optical illusions, or classified military technology, while others believe they may be evidence of something beyond our world. But regardless of which side of the debate you find yourself on, there's no denying that UFOs have captured humanity's imagination like few other mysteries ever have. With the recent wave of government disclosures, scientific investigations, and technological advancements, we stand at the brink of a new era in UFO research. The days of complete secrecy are fading, replaced by a growing demand for transparency. The U.S. military, once notorious for downplaying UFO encounters, has now admitted that there are objects in the sky that defy conventional explanations. NASA and other space agencies have begun investigating UAPs, applying rigorous scientific methods to analyze what might be out there. Private companies and independent researchers are also stepping in, using satellite technology, AI-driven analysis, and real-time tracking systems to capture more data than ever before. But even with all this progress, UFOs remain one of the most debated and controversial subjects. The problem isn't just the lack of definitive evidence, it's also the sheer complexity of the phenomenon. Some reports can be explained by atmospheric conditions, advanced drones, or classified experimental aircraft, while others remain stubbornly unclassified, exhibiting flight patterns and physics that push the boundaries of what we currently understand. Are these objects the result of undiscovered natural forces? Secretive human projects decades ahead of known technology? Or is it possible that we've been visited by something, or someone, far beyond our current understanding? No matter what the answer is, UFOs have already changed the way we think. They have influenced science fiction, inspired real-world technological advancements, and even shaped global policies. From the first cave paintings depicting strange figures in the sky to modern-day fighter pilots capturing UFOs on thermal imaging cameras, the presence of these unknowns has left an undeniable mark on human history. And as we continue our search for extraterrestrial life through projects like the James Webb Space Telescope, SETI, and interplanetary exploration, the line between science fiction and science fact grows increasingly thin. Perhaps the most fascinating part of this entire discussion is the realization that the universe is vast, so vast that the idea of being alone in it feels almost as improbable as the idea of aliens already being here. If intelligent life exists elsewhere, have they already found us? Or are we simply looking in the wrong places? Are UFOs part of a much larger, more complex reality that we have yet to comprehend? These are questions that don't have easy answers, but they are the kind of questions that push humanity forward, driving us to explore, to discover, and to rethink what we know about existence itself. For now, the UFO mystery remains just that, a mystery. But mysteries are meant to be solved, and with each new revelation, each new piece of evidence, and each new discussion, we move one step closer to uncovering the truth. Whether the ultimate answer is mundane or groundbreaking, we stand at the edge of one of the greatest scientific and philosophical questions in history. So, as you hear about new sightings, new investigations, and new theories, keep an open but critical mind. The search is far from over, and the next great discovery may be just beyond the horizon. If you liked this video, give us a like, and tell me what you think about UFPs in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe, because next week we will post another video. Bye bye guys.